Hello guys, welcome to the working out of Science Paper 1 2012. So Science Paper 1 2012 is a combination of physics and chemistry, used to be called Physicheme. So we'll have the first part of physics done and the second part of chemistry done. This is multiple choice. So we'll start with question number 1. Question number 1, the diagram shows part of a vernier caliper used to measure the width of a rectangular glass block. So you have the vernier caliper there. What is the correct reading? So the correct reading of the vernier caliper, you check the reading of the main scale as well as the vernier scale. So which reading do you get on the main scale? The reading that you get on the main scale is the number that is just before the vernier scale. So the vernier scale attaches itself here. So the number before this point, it is the number which is here. And what number is there? That is 2, 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. That is 2.3. And what is the reading on the vernier scale? So the reading on the vernier scale, it is the number where the vernier scale coincides with the main scale. The vernier scale where it coincides with the main scale, which is here. You can see this reading is coincide with the reading on the vernier scale. So this is the reading that we have to get. So what's that reading? That's 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. So we multiply it by 10 to be, dividing it by 10, it will be 0.06. The reason why we are dividing it by 10 because the accuracy of a vernier caliper is to the power is 0.1. So 0.1 is more like 1 over 10. So we divide it by 10 to get 0.06. So this 0.06, we add it to 2.3, you are getting 2.36 as in your answer. We look it up. Where is that answer? That answer is on option C. So the first question, the first answer, it is C. We come to question number 2. Which of the following represent an SI unit? An SI unit is represented by choice number B, which is second, represented by small letter s. We come to question number 3. Which of the following graphs represent an increasing velocity? An increasing velocity there is represented by option number C, where you have displacement and time. We come to question number 4. The diagram below shows a cross-section through the center of the rectangular prism. M is the position of the center of mass of the prism. PQ may be considered to have maximum stability because, so the answer there, it is A, because PQ, it has the greatest contact base area. Just a tip, for a thing to have maximum stability, it must have a wide base area and a low center of gravity. So we can see PQ, counting from M, it has got a wide base area. No wonder why the answer there is A. We move on to question number 5. The graph below was obtained by a pupil in a physics experiment to investigate the effects of force on spring. Question: what is the approximate value of the force required to start pulling the turns of the spring away from each other? We can see from the graph that 10, it won't pull the string away, but the number which is just above 10 is the one that will pull the strings away. And according to the multiple choice, the number which is just above 10 is 15, which is found on D. And that's the answer there. We move on to question number 6. So question number 6, a person exerts a force, horizontal force of 500 newtons on a box, which also experiences a friction force of 100 newtons. So how much work is done against friction when the box moves a horizontal distance of 3 meters? We know the formula for work. Work is force times distance. And the force which this person exerted was 500 newtons. But he had to overcome friction of 100 newtons. So the force which did work was 400 newtons because the 100 newtons was the friction force which was lost. Now, the 400 newtons was the resultant force. Replacing the 400 in the formula, you have force times distance. 400 is the force, then the distance is 3. You multiply 3 by 400, you are getting 1200 joules. And that answer, we find it on option C. So that's the answer there, option C. We come to question number D. Question number 7, sorry. yeah. Question number 7. The diagram shows an ideal system of pulley. The mechanical advantage of this system is, so you just count the number of zeros, the number of circles, which is 4 there, and we find it on option C. Question number 8. Heat travels in solid by conduction. Heat flows from one end of a solid to the other by. So once we hear the word conduction, it is by vibration of particles. And where do we find that? We find that on option C and D. Both option C and D contains vibration of atoms, vibration and of atoms. But it continues, and flows of electrons. Then the other one, convection currents. So now convection currents is only applied in liquids. So in solids, it will be vibration of atoms and flow of electrons, which is found on option D. And that's the answer for question number 8. Question number 9. The diagram shows the thermocouple thermometer. Which of the following is true? The true thing there is found on option D. The instrument is calibrated at boiling point of water. Question number 10. The diagram below represents a sound wave. That's a sound wave, and this is the diagram. So we are told in a space of 120 centimeter, there are 10 compressions and 10 rarefactions. What is the speed of the sound wave? So let's find the wavelength first. In order for us to find the wavelength, we need to divide the distance, which is 120, divided by the number of waves, which is 10. So 120 divided by 10, you are getting 12 centimeters in your distance. Then we know that speed, it is expressed in terms of wavelength divided by time. And the time of one wave, it is 0.08. And the length of one wave, which is the wavelength, it is 12 centimeters. So 12 centimeters wavelength divided by time, 0.08 seconds. You divide, you are going to get 150 centimeter per second. So we did convert 12 centimeters to meters because the questions, the answers on the multiple choice, they're all expressed in centimeters per second. So we also left it in centimeters per second. So that's the answer, and that's found on option number A. Question number 11. The diagram shows a sound wave reflected from a brick. Compared with the incident wave, the reflected wave was, answer is D, the same velocity. Question 12. Which of the following is a property of magnetic field lines? Magnetic field lines, I've given you this tip, they go from north to south. So the property which explains that magnetic field lines go from north to south is given on option C there. And that's the answer. Question number 13. The diagram below shows an experiment set up on electrostatics. When the switch is closed, so we can see the switch when it's closed, that thing will be connected to a thing, to the earth. Once it is connected to the earth, electrons will flow from that material to the earth, and that explanation is found on option number B. That's the answer for question number 13. We move on to question number 14. The instrument commonly used for measuring the charge which passings per second is, so charge per second, they're just talking about current. Don't get confused. Current is equal to charge over time. So charge per second, it is current. So the instrument that measures current, it is actually an ammeter, which we find on option A. Question number 15, guys. There's a calculation of electricity there. The figure below shows a circuit diagram. This is the circuit diagram. What is the value of the resistor R? What will be the value for this resistor? So in order for us to find the value of this resistor, let us first find the volume of this resistor. The volume of this resistor, we find it by V is equal to IR. This resistor is 1. Then I, these are in series connection, so they both have a 0.5 amps current. So 0.5 amps is passing here, is also passing there. So voltage will be I times R, 0.5 times 1, which is 0.5 volts. So the voltage here is 0.5 volts. But we know that these two, they don't share the equal. They don't have the equal voltage, no? They share these three. So these three is distributed among R and 1 ohms. So this is 0.5. What will be that? We subtract 3 minus 0.5, we get 2.5. And for us to find the radius here, we apply the formula for finding current. I is equal to V over R. I 0.5, V 2.5, then we solve for R. Solving for R, we're getting 5 ohms. And 5 ohms, we find it on option C. And that's the answer, C, on question number 15. We move on to question number 16. What is the cost of running a 750 watts electric fan for 4 hours and a 2 kilowatt heater for 2 hours of electric energy? Cost 150 kwacha per kilowatt. So number of units. Number of units, it is just the power times time. So now power, it has to be expressed in kilowatts. So this is in watts. We convert it to kilowatts by multiplying it by 1000. So 750 divided by 1000, we are getting the kilowatts. Then those kilowatts we multiply by 4 hours, we get 3 kilowatts. Then 2 kilowatts by 2, we get 4 kilowatts. So 3 kilowatts per hour and 4 kilowatts hour, we add them, we get 7 kilowatts hour. So these are the units. Now let us find the cost. We are told 1 unit cost 150 kwacha. What will be the value of 7 unit? What will be the cost for 7 unit? We cross multiply, then we find the cost for 7 unit to be 1050 kwacha. In this option, this answer is found on option D, and that's the answer. Question 17, we find an ideal transformer, and we are asked if 0.5 amp current flows through the input, the size of current given out at the output is. So we employ this formula. Input current over output current is equal to output voltage over input voltage. Input current 0.2, output we don't know. Output voltage 24, input 240. We cross multiply, we find X to be 2, and that's the value of the output current, which is 2 amps. And this answer, we find it on option C. That's the answer for question number 17. We move on to question number 18. Question number 18, the brightness of a spot of light on a CRO screen may be changed by varying the potential difference across the answer is B there, across the Y plates. That's just it. Question number 19. The table shows the possible properties of radioactive emission. Which emission represents an alpha particle? So the emission that presents an alpha particle is A. An alpha particle is charged, positively charged. An alpha particle is deflected in a magnetic field, yes. And the ionization effect there is just okay. So question number 19, the answer is A. Question number 20, the last question for the physics part. In a fission reactor, which particle causes uranium-235 nuclei to split? So for you to have a fission, you just have to react that particle. You have to react the sample given, to combine the sample given, with a neutron. Once you combine any sample given with neutron, you are going to have a fission. You are going to have a fission reactor. So uranium, for it to have a fission reactor, you just combine it with a neutron. Then that's it. And the answer is found on option B. So that's it for the physics part. Now, welcome to the chemistry part. Welcome to the chemistry part, guys. We start with question number 21. Question number 21 as the question, which of the following is not one of the basic units of matter? Nucleus is not one of the basic units of matter. The answer is C. Question 22, which of the following can be used to measure the volume of 15.6 cubed accurately? If you want to measure any volume accurate, you use a burette. The answer is A. 23. A condenser is used in a distillation experiments to condenser. Just from the word itself, a condenser, meaning it condenses, and to condense is to change a state of matter from vapor to liquid. So there the answer is D. Question 24. The diagram below represents the structure of a certain elementary particle. Which of the following is not true about P? The answer is B there. P is an isotope of magnesium. That is not true, but the rest are true. So the answer is B. Question number 25. Element Q has atomic number 11, whereas element R has atomic number 8. The compound formed when Q and R react together will be, so the answer is B there, will be a crystalline solid at room temperature and pressure. Q, if you see Q as 11, 11 is actually potassium. And if you see 8, that is just oxygen. So potassium oxide, that's a salt. And that will be crystalline at room temperature and pressure. So the answer is B. We move on to question number 26. So question number 26, the formula for lithium phosphate, you are given that. What is the formula for magnesium phosphate? So magnesium phosphate here, magnesium the valence is 2, phosphate the valence is 3. They will interchange. Magnesium will have a subscript 3, then phosphate will have a subscript 2 with brackets. And this formula is found on option D, so that's the answer. 27. What mass of calcium metal reacts completely with 9 grams of water according to the equation below? So according to that equation, since it is already balanced, we can see the mole ratio is 1 to 2. So let us find the number of moles, the original number of moles of water. The original number of moles of water, we use this formula. Number of moles is equal to mass over molar mass. So mass we are given is 9. If we calculate the molar mass of water, we're getting it to be 36. When we divide, we get 0.25. So since the mole ratio is 1 to 2, if water is 0.25, what would be for calcium? We cross multiply, so we find the number of moles for calcium to be 0.125 moles. So what are we going to do for us to find the mass of calcium? We employ the same formula. Number of moles is equal to mass over molar mass. Number of moles 0.125. Mass is what we are solving for. Molar mass of calcium is 40. We cross multiply, we find the mass to be 5 grams. And this answer is found on option D. So D is the answer. We move on to question number 28. Question 28. Which one of the following is likely to be the molecular formula of hydrocarbon containing 85.7% carbon and 14.3% hydrogen by mass? So in order for us to find the formula, we need to find the number of moles. So they are more like the molar masses. These are more like masses, sorry, not molar masses. So carbon 85.7, hydrogen 14.3. So how do we find the number of moles? Number of moles is equal to mass over molar mass. Mass of carbon 85.7. Molar mass of carbon 12. We divide, we get 7.14. Number of moles for carbon. We come to a hydrogen. Number of moles, mass over molar mass. Mass 14.3. Molar mass 1. We divide, we get 14.3. From this, we can see that the mole ratio, since the smallest number is 7.414, we divide 7.14 here, even here 7.14, we're going to have 1 there and 2 there. From the list which is given on the multiple choice, the ratio which shows that carbon is in the ratio of 1 to 2 to hydrogen, it is actually C6H12, because when we divide 6 here we get 1, 6 into 12 we get 2. So D is actually the answer. We move on to the next question, question number 29. Question number 29 there, you are told the diagram below shows the part of a periodic table of elements to represent the element in the periodic table, but it is not the actual symbol of the element. Which of the following statement is true about T? So the statement which is true about T, we find it on A. T has a high density and high melting point. We move on to the next question, question number 30. The diagram below shows an experiment which can be used to purify copper metal in a laboratory. Which of the labeled parts A, B, C, or D represent the impure copper? Impure copper from that diagram is represented by A. So the answer is A. Question 31. Which of the following is not one of the reasons why a lot of aluminium metal is recycled? Get the question properly. The question says which one is not the reason why aluminium is recycled. So the answer there, that was question number 31. The answer there is A. Aluminium is not recycled because it is more resistant to corrosion. No, that's not the reason why. So the answer is A. 32. What is the ionic equation for the neutralization reaction between sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid? So between sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid, the ionic equation, I've written the equation there. Then the ionic equation, which remains, is this one. And the answer is C. So you can follow it up to get to that. And the answer is C. Question 33. Which of the following oxides dissolves in both acid and alkali? The oxide which dissolves in both acid and alkali, we call them amphoteric oxide. And an example of an amphoteric oxide is actually zinc oxide. And the answer is A. Question number 34. When ethanol vapor is passed over heated aluminum, ethane is formed according to the equation. What term is used to describe the above equation? The above equation is dehydration. You are actually breaking down alcohol, so it's dehydration. You are breaking down alcohol and you are removing water from it, so it's dehydration. Removing water from it, it's dehydration. We come to number 35. Which of the pairs of compound represent isomers? Isomers, the word isomers is the word which is used to molecules that have the same molecular formula but different structures. So they will have same carbon atoms, same hydrogen atoms, but different structures. And we found those molecules to be on A. So the answer for question number 35, it is actually A. Question number 36. The structure below shows an addition polymer. The monomer for the above polymer is, so from that polymer, you just pick what is being repeated. And the thing that is being repeated there, it is found on C. So C becomes the answer. Question number 37. Which of the compounds below are likely to be present in the petrol fraction? That compound is found on C. Question number 38. In which of the following reactions is the underlying substance being oxidized? That is C. If we check there, hydrogen chloride is being oxidized. Why? Because hydrogen is removed and oxygen is added. So that's oxidation. That's for 38. 39. Which of the following pollutant gases is the major cause of acid rain? Acid rain is caused by sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide reacts with rain, which is water, to form sulfuric acid. and that rain rains with sulfuric acid that causes damage to plants and aquatic life like fish. So the answer is D from question number 39. Question number 34. Ammonia is manufactured by the Haber process using the reaction represented by the equation below. What are the conditions of temperature and pressure which are used to obtain a satisfactory yield of ammonia? So to obtain a lot yield of ammonia, you need to have the conditions which are described on option B. You need to have a temperature of about 500 degrees Celsius and pressure of about 250 atmospheric pressure. That's when you can get a huge yield of ammonia. So guys, these are the answers for question paper of 2012 paper 1 science paper 1 Physichem. These are the answers for you. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy a lot more videos.